And just like that, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome back to another super hot fire episode of Good Morning Azeroth. Welcome back to the stream. I see a little bit of scuffage on the stream. Let me go ahead and fix that. There we go. Melderon is with us in spirit, of course. He couldn't make it because I fucked up the timing today. Spicy title though. Get some. It's a spicy title, guys. We gotta get some likes on the stream. You know, tell your mama. Tell your brother, we're going to be talking about is Classic WoW dying today. I am joined by the original Mad Lads themselves. Sir Defcamp, how are you today?
Doing good, man. Great to be back on the Classic WoW talk show.
The
Good
Classic
morning,
WoW
Azeroth.
talk show.
That's well said. That's well said.
Well said. Well said. Are we the best Classic WoW talk show? What do you guys think? But also, we are here with Knight Commander Dunedain. How are you, man?
I'm super happy to be back. Personally, I've been better on the health, the general health thing. You know, kidney stone, and that's really painful. But I'm really happy to be back. I'm happy to be playing WoW. Still happy to be alive. It's all good.
I'll give you a cleanse disease if you want.
Feeling better immediately.
Awesome, a cleanse. Well, I mean, the good news is now you know what was afflicting you. Isn't that the worst, guys? Everybody can relate when you don't know what's going on with your body, and that's just like the most anxiety causing. Now you know what's going on, and everything is better now. So,
most definitely.
We're happy for you, man.
For sure.
We're happy for you. You're looking good too. You're looking good. No homo. You look great. You looking good. All right, guys. Welcome back to Good Morning Azeroth. Before we get started, we must commence our ritual, our age-old, year-old tradition. Sir Defcamp, priestess of the high moon.
Yes. You guys ready?
Yes, please.
All right. Sound warning. Here we go. Good morning, Azeroth. We're back, baby. Happy holidays. It's 2020. Happy New Year. Let's do it, baby. Classic WoW in 2020. Here we go.
I missed that, man. I missed that so much.
I missed that too. I miss when it peaks out and it no longer, like, the mic no longer works. It's not a real introduction unless it clips out at the top like that. You know, it's fake news. Fake news. Welcome back, everybody. Though we love you guys. Seriously, I mean, you guys are freaking amazing. Like we look forward to this. You guys bring us together. Through you guys, our friendships are stronger. Our GMA wouldn't exist. We'd probably be not as good friends if it weren't for you guys tuning in. So thank you for your time today. But I feel like it's been a minute since we've even all caught up though. I'm gonna take a deep breath right now.
Before the holidays, right?
Since before New Year's?
Yeah.
I think so. I think before Christmas even.
Wow, before Christmas. We've been slacking, dude. Before Christmas?
Yeah, the holidays, man. Holidays, I've been working like a fucking dog, and it's nice now. I got some back to normal. Got some time, off, and I'll have a 3-day weekend coming up. So yeah, looking forward to that.
3-day weekend coming up. You haven't been streaming for a minute too, huh? People have been asking about you in my stream.
Yeah, I know. With the so like I said, my work schedule's been really busy. I had to pick up some extra time at work. Started a new project at work that took a lot of my time. At home as well, so that's done now. Tomorrow it'll be done, so I'll be back to my regular schedule. So looking forward to that.
That's the main reason why people are saying Classic WoW is dying, right? Because you're not streaming.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
We're gonna have to change that shit.
Dude,
yeah.
The people are starving for that Def Camp content. Can we get some snapples in the chat, guys?
Well, we got Super Plate Brothers coming back this weekend, and
I'm joining, by the way.
With Dunedain. yep, with Dunedain.
Hell yeah.
And we'll be having another stream coming up this weekend. Is that the Witcher I see in the background as well, Cargos? You got going on?
Yeah, that's a nice observation. And I didn't know you partake in the Witcher universe.
I do partake in the Witcher universe.
Did you watch the show?
I am still watching the show. I'm on episode 6, I think. 5 or 6, so yeah. But let's get down in the dirty, baby. What's going on with Classic WoW, Cargos?
Okay. We're gonna talk about it together, right? This is also gonna be a short GMA because of me, so blame me. F's in the chat. Cargos fucked up the schedule, and now it's gonna be probably an hour or less. We're gonna try and power through it, guys. So we're gonna try and get to the meat and taters of the issue at hand here. Is Classic WoW dying? Why are we even talking about Classic WoW dying? Well, you know, I've been kind of lost in the sauce in my own zone leveling my paladin, but I hear around me just like these buzzing voices. Everyone's like, dead game. Oh, you're still playing classic? Like, why are you playing classic? The game's over. Asmongold said it's over. You know, like all these people are leaving. Everybody left. You know, there's no more full servers. It's all low. It can't even PvP. PvP system, PvP meta scuffed. All these things are just, you know, buzzing around me. So, initial. I mean, are you guys hearing that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can notice it many different parts of the game, mainly in the guild. We usually had a lot of people raiding, signing up for raids. We had over 40 people every time we did 2 Onyxia raids with like 30 people in each raid, and now we barely get to 30 people for Onyxia. We get to the 40 for Molten Core, so it's definitely people are not playing as much as they used to. That being said, I don't believe Classic is dying at all. I think they will all be back when BWL launches, and
Exactly.
the main reason most people got disheartened by the Eltric Valley meta, the PvP meta. People wanted to play PvP, wanted to play Battlegrounds, wanted to do Warsong Gulch, and in the end, AV is the battleground to go to, and that's not what people want to play. If you want to PvP or you want to play Warsong Gulch, you don't want to play AV, and you're basically forced into that. I think that's one of the biggest reasons right now. Warsong Gulch is such a good thing to keep people sub, to keep people engaged, to keep people playing the game right now, because most people have all the gear from dungeons, and all you can do is raid to get more gear. So PvP is really the thing, and then basically, PvP is non-existent. So,
well, I think there's another thing that we're missing out on. I think that Cargo's picked up on and has reinvigorated him, which is just leveling another character. And I think that's something that if you are feeling a little disheartened or a little you know, like you're just raid logging or whatever, that is the alternative, is to create a new character and enjoy that. Maybe make a character you never made before, playing a different faction. But, you know, I gotta say, my experience has been, you know, even though some people like myself and for the last week or so only really raid logged and was in for raid, our raid group was still full for MC and Ani. We were clearing everything in like 2 hours between MC and Ani and you know, getting ready for BWL to come out. But you know, is Classic WoW dying? Absolutely not. I think we're in a state of limbo right now. I would say, you know, waiting for BWL to come out. But I do think that this is natural, that this would something like this would happen, where, you know, the hype was really big in the beginning. Everyone wanted to play Classic. It's been out for a while. Things have been stagnant for a little bit, like especially what you said with AV. And I think once BWL comes out, though, it's going to be, you know, everyone's going to be back to and the great thing is, you know, the content's going to be a little bit more difficult. People are going to take a little bit more time, hopefully. Right?
I hope so. I hope
know,
so.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what I say.
Because if content becomes difficult, then it adds a lot more than just raid. It adds farming materials, adds farming certain recipes, maybe farming flasks, stuff for flasks, all those kind of things, farming resistance gears. So it adds a lot more than just raid if it's a little bit more difficult. If it's not difficult at all and you can just go through it like Molten Core, which is a possibility, we don't know yet, right? Then I don't see people staying very long if they don't do anything about the PvP system. I really think it's such an easy fix. Just nerf AV honor or buff Warsong Gulch honor. I don't mind.
Let me talk on that for 1 second. Okay.
Yeah.
So I hear about the AV problems, right? There's a lot of big brain rankers who are the most passionate about PvP. All they want to do is PvP, and they want to play at a high level. They want to be, get rank 14, bracket 1, Gen 1 rankers, right? Trying super hard. They're putting in 60, 70 hours a week into AV. They're trying to do remote login. They're sleeping between queues. They're literally taking little micro naps with on their computer until the queue pops, and they come back in, and their quality of life is low. And I feel for them. And but here's the thing, though. There's no gun to anyone's head telling them that you have to do AV. You can do Warsong right now. You can go do as much Warsong as you want right now. You can go do Warsong pre-mades right now. You may not be the most efficient. You may not be a Gen 1 ranker, but you may be a Gen 2, Gen 3 ranker. You're still going to get there probably eventually if you put the time in. So to me, that's one piece of feedback that I have. Like, I would rather them do no changes and like not mess with the values and have people just Basically, not be so fixated on ranking, though.
I kind of disagree on that for two reasons. First, back in the day, it's no changes, I agree, but back in the day, people just didn't really know that AV was the best way to gain honor, so it wasn't a problem, and people did Wars and Gulch anyway. And then secondly, you say you can do Wars and Gulch. It's right, you can do it. I did it today. It was fun. I want to do it again. But I don't want to spend time ranking in Wars and Gulch. I don't want to spend time ranking at all. It's basically the same as if you're in retail right now and you do a dungeon without Dungeon Finder. Why would you do that? There's no reason, right?
Well, maybe because it was fun, though. But yeah, I feel you. In retail, I kind of feel... But there are some people like OG Haptics. If you guys know OG Haptics, he's a friend of the channel. He's been spamming Warsong, and I think he's still undefeated. Him and his Vampire Clan boys have been killing it. They've been bumping it. Undefeated Warsong. And they've done hundreds of games, right? What rank are they? I'm curious. Like, if you did Warsong nonstop, you're still probably like rank 10 or something, right? Rank 10,
least.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would say at least, yeah.
So, all I'm saying, you can achieve a level of success in PvP and still rank pretty effectively in Warsong, but, I guess not everybody's going to win every game, but...
You're deliberately putting yourself behind, and I feel like many people just... The fun goes away if you do it like that.
Do you think they're going to rush and bring Rothi Basin out earlier because of this?
If they do that, that would be okay-ish, I guess, but isn't it just easier to buff Wars and Gulch a little bit?
I think giving a Rothi, putting a Rothi out earlier also just gives another option for people, I think, which would be nice. Sure. Rothi is my favorite BG in vanilla, so I'm very much looking forward to it. However, it's like, one of those things where I'm okay with waiting a little bit for it, but honestly, if it came out, maybe a little bit after BWL or right around the same time, I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I would be okay with that.
North
too.
you guys know North the Mage? He's dying to come put his 2 cents on this. It will mess up the cameras, 100%. But I kind of, I want to get him in here for a second so we can say something.
Love talk with North, yeah.
Because he's dying. He's having an aneurysm right now. He has a lot to say. He's a very passionate gamer.
Very passionate PvPer as well, yeah.
Get Big North in here for a second just to see what he has to say about this. All right, North, the North cameo guys, stand by. Stand by for scuff cameras. Scuff cameras engaged, except for myself.
Oh god, the scuff. The scuff cameras ink.
The scuff is too much now.
I apologize for the scuff, but I felt it necessary. I felt it necessary to give my 2 cents in because I agree 100% with Dundane. I think that a change at this point, like the no changes mantra, it's right. Like I've been on this train for a long time. It's gone way too far. It has gone far too far. And it's just, at this point, it's completely bullshit because we live in a world of changes.
Yeah.
Right? We live in an Azeroth that has been changed. So we have to pick and choose what changes have been made. The AV that currently exists is different. Fundamentally different from later versions. So there's no way that we can say, oh yeah, no, it shouldn't be nerfed. If this were 1.5, if this were prior to BWL, this AV would not be as viable honor-wise. Warsong Gulch would be better.
Wait, say why? Why is that?
In the old AV, and if you haven't played private servers extensively, don't know this, there were mines everywhere. All right? These mines, and as well as the archers doing far more damage. The archers could essentially 2 or 3 shot you. Right? As right now, you could take like 10, 15 shots from an archer, the archer doesn't kill you. So if you turtled around archer points, right, around like Tower Point, for instance, if you were Horde, if you have 2 or 3 mages that frost nova an entire team, the archers start picking off the team incredibly fast. If anyone runs off of the road at any point, a mine will go off that deals 3,000 damage to everyone in like 40 yards around them. Yep. So you can't walk off the road. So you have to funnel into these choke points into 2, 3 mages. So right now, say you need 15, 20 mages, right, to actually get off like a successful turtle as a pug, you needed 5. So the reason why AV became, right, like you see all the turtles that the Horde attempt to do and the fact the Alliance can just power through them with pre-mades, that isn't possible in an older version of AV.
Right.
But they neutered it. And so we have this old version without mines, with nerfed archers, and that's the biggest deal. I'm not sure. I think commanders were nerfed as well to have less health and deal less damage. I'm not sure on that one.
What would your proposed change be, North, if you had to go straight to the issue right now? If you could fix it, how would you fix it?
Well, my proposed change would be to remove AV entirely. AV
Remove
is
AV
a
entirely. That's not
bastard
happening.
child.
That's not happening.
I know. I know it won't happen. But if I were Supreme King, if I were Philosopher King of World of Warcraft, I would just delete it.
Yeah,
I would just delete the battleground.
If you were Philosopher King of World of Warcraft, no instance would exist, and it would be straight like EverQuest mode or whatever.
BRD,
you don't even like farming.
No, there would be some instances. There would be some instances, but BRD would certainly be a zone, and it would not be an instance. But everything else, I haven't really thought about too much.
So what about a more realistic, like a compromised?
More realistic in terms of what was actually feasibly possible. Lieutenant Honor is just nerfed. I agree 100% with that. Lieutenant Honor is ridiculous. Make like even put the honor into the towers, maybe, right? Like load more honor into the towers if you want to make that change and have it be more objective focused. But right now, you're like there's too many. The thing that I always say about AV is there are too many mixed incentives in AV.
Yeah. Right.
There are too many incentives not to actually play the game.
Even in its 1.12 state, yeah.
In AV, yeah. Because you have, I mean, even in earlier states, there are a lot of incentives not to play the game because there's there's herbs that spawn, there are thorium veins that spawn, so you have incentives to.
What if old AV was on the table? Would you prefer old AV completely, like just the pre-nerf state, and it's a type of thing?
I mean, 100%.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that, right?
For no other reason than I'm not sure if the Black Lotus existing in AV was a private server meme or not. I actually do not know. But I mean, for no other reason than it would make my flasks cheaper. But other than that, it is a better version of AV because it doubles down on what AV is about. You need those bombing runs, right, from the wing commanders are a lot more necessary when it's much easier to turtle. The Ram Riders actually become viable when you actually do need to not force a turtle with 20 mages, right? When it's so easy to turtle, right, it becomes, like all these mechanics that existed in AV are legitimately utile.
So you want
right now?
You want Blizzard right now. If anyone from Blizzard is listening, which I don't think they're listening, I would I don't know. You never know. You never know. It might be one or two. Like maybe the intern's listening.
I mean,
or something
here's the thing though. They don't have the team. They don't have the resources to re-implement the old version of AV. It's unclear if they even have the old version. So
just the nerf. We're trying to get right to. So nerf the Lieutenant Honor is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean either buff Warsong or release AV. I see no real reason to remove to have AV not released, right? Because they already have currently with Warsong, they released Warsong and they don't have the rewards released. Obviously in this version of the game, AV wasn't out, right? Like Arathi Basin just didn't exist yet, but that was because they just hadn't designed it yet. In the same way that when they released World PvP, they wanted to have Battlegrounds and they were working on Battlegrounds and it took them 6 weeks to release Battlegrounds because they hadn't fully finished and they wanted to put the finishing touches on them. If Blizzard could have released Battlegrounds right when they released the Honor System, they would have. In the same way that if they could have released AB when they released the other two Battlegrounds, they would have. Right? They might not have all the rep rewards prepared, so don't give people the rep rewards, don't change the curve in terms of the gear and when it's available. All of that makes sense, but why bar AB? Other than a dogmatic, no changes, we should implement it the way it was implemented. Why not implement AB, right?
I'm all for it. I would love to see AB. Yeah, no, I mean...
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing AB, but I can see why it's okay to delay it. It's just something to look forward to. But it's not okay to delay it if Wars and Girls is not an option like it is now. So if they don't want to change the honor, then sure, bring AB ASAP.
If you could say one paragraph to the people and the developers, like as concise and cohesive and to the point as possible, what would you say, North, about the current state of World of Warcraft Classic at the moment? I know this is a lot to marinate in your mind in a very short amount of time.
Or everything.
Just think about the state of the game. What would be your closing thoughts? The current state of the game. Date is January 9th, 2020. To the people, to the community, to the Blizzard intern that's listening right now.
Give me 15 seconds.
Can I
get my thesis started?
Get his
thesis. Go ahead.
He's aggressively scribbling right now.
So I think the no changes was a nice idea to start from, but didn't really work out very well. And I would say instead of no changes, we should rather have something which brings us the old experience back rather than the exact old game as it was in 1.12. So make changes if that makes the game closer to the old experience.
Ooh, someone said changes. Where's the reason?
No, I agree with that completely.
Where's the alarm robot?
I think that even as it relates to the old experience, I'm not even tied to that as much. I think that changes can be made to the game that are in line with the old experience, but not necessarily congruent with the old experience of the game, that can make it just obviously a better game. AV does not help the game, like AV being in the meta as much as you say that it's optional. it makes the meta worse for both casuals and hardcore players. Right, really. So making changes that cause the larger player base to enjoy the game more and for it to be more in line with a social MMO that's not, endless solo queue spamming of Alterac Valley is going to benefit everyone.
Though. It's a slippery slope.
I mean, it is. Cargo's
straw poll in the chat, guys. Straw poll in the chat. Go vote. Changes or no changes? Vote in the chat.
Here's the thing. We're not.
We already have changes.
Yeah,
we already have changes. What changes do we have, North?
Layering on launch, the fact that sword spec worked with axe spec until last week, the fact that I could melee in between my spellcasts with a 2.4 speed weapon, right? Like all of those changes, right? Bugs, not intentional changes, but you look at the way that loot has been changed, right? Like with
itemization,
itemization, the debuffs,
everything.
Yeah, like the way that debuffs are 8 or 16 right now instead of 8, the way that the queue system doesn't function in the same way where you can't take a queue within another queue. The way that AV is in a 1.5 1.12 state, the way that we have cross-round battlegrounds. All of these things changes from the current state of the game. So if you're going to come out from the argument of, oh, this shouldn't be changed because of where it is in the game, it doesn't make sense because it already has been.
Yeah.
So given that we already have changes, given that we're working from a platform of the game has been changed, we have to instead pivot to how do we make the game feel better? How do we make the game work better? How do we make the game function better in this overly metagamed sort of, culture that we have? And the answer is we need to nerf AV. And we need to make sure that moving forward that certain old systems aren't implemented shittily just because it was technically a no change argument.
See, Cargo, the thing you have to do is...
You go first, Defkin. Yeah.
I just want to say, you have to look at the game and how it is
Can't
now,
believe
Cargos,
it. All my brothers do it, saying changes now.
Listen,
oh my Lanta, dude. The straw poll, look at my eyes, dude. I'm like a witch, get the water thrown on him.
But
85% saying changes?
You're looking at it from the point of vanilla WoW. We're not playing vanilla WoW. We're playing classic WoW. It's a completely different animal in so many aspects. Why try to adhere to the guidelines that aren't even in place right now? Like we have what we have now. It's just pure and simple. Like it just doesn't work to try to put things into a 2004 2005 point of view, right? We have to look at the game at where it is now and try to compromise what we can. I don't think there is anything we could do to bring it to the state of say it's gonna we'll have it like this, like it was in 2004 and 2005. Look at the game how it is now. Look at what we can do to make that better, like North said. Implementing
it's about making it better, right? Like it's about making it better and bringing a closer experience because we are already operating from a platform of changes. So it's like no changes, the entire point of no changes, and it got so like muddled up like after being said over and over and over again by everyone. The whole idea of no changes was from the pristine realms. The entire argument was from like when Blizzard announced pristine realms potentially, and they were like, hey, like we'll just have servers that are Cataclysm servers without any heirlooms, without any extra XP from Recruit a Friend, and that'll be classic WoW. And everyone was like, no changes, no transmog, old like vanilla, like pre-Cataclysm. That's what no change, right? No dungeon finder. That's what no changes was. It wasn't, we need a old version of processing spells at every 400 seconds randomly because that's the way that it needs to be.
Don't get North started on the spell
you sit here and you have to ruminate in the mistakes that have been made because of a dogmatic approach by people who don't understand something that is subjective rather than objective. What a change is to you is different from what a change is to me, because I think that 112, like pure 112, having, for instance, no unarmored mounts in the game, that's a change. And yet, right, they have the old riding system, but they have the 112 or the pre-112 riding system, but not the pre-112 riding mounts. Right? They have the post-112 battleground system, but they don't have and they have the post-112 AV, but they have pre-112 riding. Why would they do that, right? It's all backward. It's this hodgepodge sort of collage of what we think is good. So we're already operating from a platform of changes. So what would be the good change?
Let me take a few steps back, though, North.
Is the question.
Let me take a few steps back, though. Okay.
Okay.
Game is fun. I'm having a good time. I'm loving awesome.
Same.
Doing my thing. Like, you know,
Same.
you are able to play Warsong right now. You're able to do pre-mades in Warsong. You're able to be an undefeated Vampire Clan, big brain, you know, boy. You can do all that. You can have fun.
But here's the thing.
You know,
here's
you
the
may
thing.
not do
That's
it
a
as
constant
efficiently. Isn't all of these arguments you're saying? It all is. It's tying to one thing, that AV is the most efficient Arna farm, and it shouldn't be that way. And like, it's almost like a min-max type thing, which is the issue right now. You want to get rank 14 as efficiently as possible.
Of course.
So that's the thing that's causing all these issues. The ability to get rank 14, you know.
No, not necessarily,
it's
because for a lot of people, it becomes viable at all to get rank 4, right? Like for a lot of people, they have a purely PvE experience on the way to rank 14. That's my bigger problem. I agree with you. Like solving the game for min-maxing, if you can make the min-maxers' lives better without making the casuals' lives worse, and my argument is that it makes both the casuals' lives better and the min-maxers' lives better, then I think you should make the change, even if it's like for min-maxers primarily. I think you should make that change. However, this is not my argument. My argument is that people are having a purely PvE experience on the way to rank, like on the way to their rank grind, which is bad and like not in the spirit of the game. But what moreover, I agree with the point that, right, just because it doesn't suit the min-maxers, it's not like, right, like obviously you leveling instead of ranking is a better way of playing the game, because the game was more designed around leveling than it was around ranking, right? So you going and being like, hey, let's not do this very shitty, overly metagamed, you know, like rank grind. Rather,
I saw some people on No Hit Jerome. He's a new streamer and he's a friend of mine. And what they were doing yesterday is he was de-ranking them, and people were going from rank 10 all the way down to like 0 rank, pretty much. And they were, and they're joking, they're memeing about it. They're like, we're cleansing them from the rank demon or whatever, right? And they're the dude is de-ranking in the deep run tram. They keep one-shotting the rat kebab guy who keeps respawning. So he's going down from all the different ranks all the way down to rank 0. And it does feel a little bit liberating though, North, when you kind of don't go super ham. Like, you take a few steps back, you're like, it's not that serious. Like, I'm just gonna play.
No,
enjoy the game,
and
you know?
fair enough, right? And fair enough. It's hurt my stream like for a long time because I was refusing to, like, I just didn't want to stream it at all, like any kind of AV, because I was just like, I was sick of it, and I was just doing it for 17 hours a day, and I like just didn't have the energy to do it. So I was just like hiding in AV, and I couldn't stream the weeks prior and during the World PvP ranking because I would have gotten sniped. So, right, like it's been personally bad for me, and like I realized that it's just like bad in general, and it's not fun, and like it would be more fun to put like sit in Warsong. And if I had a team of 10 people that actually would want to do that, I might consider it. But I did set a goal for myself. I said I wanted to be in the first wave of rank 14s. I wanted to be among the first people who said, okay, I have this shiny fucking purple weapon, and
Cloud Staff,
and I'm committed to that. And
you want the Cloud Staff,
the blade and
you
the
want
Cloud
the
Staff.
Where are you now, North? What rank are you at now?
I'm rank 12. I'm in line for it. I'm rank 13 next week.
Well, what a legend.
Right, we're 4 weeks away, and I'm halfway into this week essentially in terms of my honor farm. So it's not even going to be that bad. Like AV benefits, like we have one of the fastest like AV groups in the game, right? And we can farm for 4 days a week and then be done. Right, it's not like I'm suffering so much from this. I just see the player base suffering for it.
What's up, dude?
I want to say a few things about this. So the thing you said, Cargo, is about the min-maxing and take a step back and stuff. I feel that many people are now not PvPing, even though they never really were going to get to rank 14. They were never really the min-max people, but they are just not ranking because it's not possible to get to rank 14 in the Warson Gulch way. You get what I'm trying to say? No, probably
it's also
not.
just not fun. It's also just not fun for a lot of people.
I think here's another problem that's not being discussed as well. Like with the rank system, when you have the zero-sum gain rank system where only a certain amount of players can be at the top, you can't actually like have everyone be at the top if you farm like a lot, right? The issue becomes when one method is more efficient than the other. Right, you have to decide which is most efficient, because when one is more efficient than the other, one will be a realistic route and in a populated area to acquire top ranks, and the other will not, because the decay gets so high that if you're not getting the top brackets, which involves being in like usually the top 15 of the server, then you're not going to be able to rank up. You'll actually actively de-rank from 12 and beyond if you're not in the first 2 brackets.
Let me rephrase it. So what I try to say is many people might aspire to become rank 14 one day, and they might try to rank up and see how other people do it, and they see I need to do AV to get to rank 14. That's not fun. I'm not going to do that. And by that process, we actually take some part of the fun away out of the game. So it's basically like the 1% of the people who cleared Nax many people had the aspiration to clear next, but they never did it. And this is basically the same, and not the same thing I'm trying to say here in PvP. If the best way to do the ranking is AV, then also the casuals are not going to do any PvP, even though they never intend to min-max or anything like that. You get the point? Or
yeah, the meta just shifts away from it. Everyone's doing AV because it's in the meta, and right, like
if I were to ask the chat a couple months ago,
pre-made
changes or no changes, 95% of people would have said no changes, right?
Yes,
Guess what it is right now.
No, but guess what it is. That's the thing. Even then, they would have been wrong. And I was on this from the beginning, and I've been like, and you like, I hope you remember, Cargos. I have always been on this that no changes is a dogmatic approach. As like a thought process, it's always been the reason why they should have been dogmatic. Just means like refusing to take no for an answer.
I don't necessarily agree here. I think with no changes, like 99%.
But they didn't want to mess it up because it's not their baby. They said it's not their code to touch.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Not compensating for current reality is what's going to ruin the game, and it's what it hasn't ruined the game, but it's what's massively negative impacted the game. Not taking a hard look at what systems make sense.
Don't you
like
think
that, like AV ranking, like not implementing the right system for AV.
Hold on.
Right?
Just listen.
If we didn't have that no changes aspect before the game came out, we could have been looking at a very different game right now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So I'm saying the dogmatism is the problem with it. It's not the existence of no changes. It's not the idea that we want a game that is as similar as possible, right, and as congruent as possible with vanilla WoW. That's not bad. It's the idea that we aren't willing to open our eyes and open our minds to how changes can actually implement that better, right?
I think 99% of the people who wanted no changes, that they didn't necessarily want no changes 1.12 version. What they want is the most authentic version of vanilla WoW, and therefore they said no changes, and I'm one of those. I still stand by no changes, but if I say no changes, I mean no changes. I mean patch 1.1.
I'm still no changes as much as possible, because I'm of the opinion that Blizzard has the potential, like if they start touching the code and it's a slippery slope, that they could kind of that's
the thing. I'm not of a no changes mindset at all. I think
80% of people,
implementing Warlock,
80% of people just voted yes changes. I just want to throw that out there for the community. 80% of people just voted yes changes.
That's good, because that means people have opened their eyes to what's happening around them, and they're not just plugging their ears to it because they've seen what's actually happened. If we went from like 1.0 on, we re-implement all the bugs with like the double trinket popping meta for mages and shamans for like a very long time. I believe it's until 1.9 that's changed, right? So people could like go ZHC and TOAP and just one-shot people like even worse than they could currently. Hunters had a non-normalized aim shot that could crit for 4,000 like on male. I'm pretty sure with like BWL crossbow, you had a lot of like very serious problems with the game if you take it back and actually go to 1.0, where Warlocks didn't have death coil like in that version of the game.
Yeah, but that would be nice. That would be fun. That would be nice.
Except for unless if you play a Warlock and you realize that Warlock has absolutely no access to peel of any kind. The class does not make sense without death coil in vanilla.
I don't necessarily
agree. It's really bad without death coil.
Here's the thing. I think that right now there needs to be some kind of change, right? So it's all relative to where we are in the game.
Dev camp, private server, old boy, old guard, old guard, dev camp. What's up?
But what I'm saying is the result of the game we have now, it already is a changed game, right? So it's like it's like saying you can't say no changes to a game that's already been changed. Like we have to already listen and say, like, okay, reality is the game isn't fucking vanilla. It's a changed version. It's classic WoW, and we have to kind of mold into shape what we can and make it the best game we can now. The fact is, yeah, we said no changes back at the get-go, and it was a good thing that we did that because a lot of things were safeguarded in that time, like like some of the most important things.
What was actually safeguarded though? Tell me what no changes did for us other than batching.
What
did no changes do with us at batching? Okay, all right, let me go. No changes.
We have so many things. We have the content release plan. I mean, what if everything would have been released at different times? We had AV.
That's still a change. That's not no changes. The way the content's released, the way the content is released is a change.
Bro, we might have had like LFG. We might have had LFG in the game. If
No,
it
we
was
wouldn't. That was never a realistic possibility. Even in
we might have had cross realm. You never know.
No, but
you never know.
Even in the pristine realms idea that Blizzard gave, and the reason why this movement rose up was because of the pristine realm announcement. Even in the pristine realm announcement,
that was no
they said they would remove the fucking dungeon and raid finder.
What so no changes was to me
never
was
meant
the
to
fact
address
that
because that was never
no
a real
changes
possibility.
To the talents, no changes to the.
What changes would have been made to the talents?
I mean, we had so many people asking for balancing of off specs, balancing of.
And Blizzard would never have done that because that requires more work.
What do you mean? What if the community was all chanting changes rebalance the game?
No, but I'm not saying. I'm saying what is no changes done for us, not what is the absence of a giant hashtag.
Okay, no changes has gotten to us. Okay, this is what no changes has done for us, North. Let me talk a little bit quieter here because I can for emphasis. No changes has got us only 5% changes, and what I mean by that is like by saying no changes so vehemently, there is always going to be some level of degree of changes. All the things that you mentioned, North. But by saying it so vehemently, we got way less changes than we could have possibly had, right? There's other stuff we're not even thinking about right now.
Like we even though it was a short amount of time that we had
stuff in there,
PvP,
man.
We still had World PvP. We still had the game starting without Battlegrounds. We still had things like that. I mean, honestly, if we went and said, if people wouldn't have been so adamant about no changes, we would have probably saw AV WSG at launch. We probably would have saw.
And do you think that would have been bad?
Yes.
I think it is important that we had
this is more authentic. You get more content in certain release schedules.
But I mean, the reality of it is the way that actually creates the treadmill of ranking means that more people are actually interested in the game for longer. I've played like a dozen vanilla freshes, right? Not a dozen. I've played several though. And the way that works is like when the casuals want to play, right? They don't get into Warsong for a while, and it's always available to them. So you have this treadmill where the hardcore players, the veterans, aren't choking everyone out of the game, right? You create an atmosphere where that doesn't actually happen, right? Which is the reality of current vanilla, and you create a smaller population at the very head of the game because not everyone gets bottlenecked and then fucking stuck up at the very, very top. So you actually create a better atmosphere for everyone. So as much as it is a change, right? Like I've seen it both ways. I've seen servers that have done both. I've seen Classic that did it the one way. I've seen Chronos 3 that did it the one way, and it failed, largely speaking, right? You had massive fucking camp wars. If you didn't have the change from 112 of the decreased diminishing returns, if you had the 10 kill diminishing return from 112, we would have seen way worse camping, which is a good change that they made. They saw it and they said, okay, let's have the 25% TR so people don't actually camp them out for fucking 15 days. People couldn't do dungeons for weeks on several servers. People just stopped playing the game.
Yeah. But the thing is, before the game launched, the phase I looked forward to the most was phase 1 and phase 2 because of the PvP, because you could basically get dishonorable kills in phase 1 and had world PvP in phase 2. It ended up not being fun. But we tried it and it was nice.
When you have Battlegrounds from the start, it creates an atmosphere where there always is world PvP. Because you don't have people forced into Battlegrounds. They're not in there from the beginning because they're not ranking right away. They don't feel bottlenecked. But I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen on every server. People world PvP more. People are in the world more because they aren't committed as much to the rank because it doesn't release all at the same time. Not everyone has been bottlenecked.
I want to hear what all you guys think on this, but I can honestly say, and this is
people PvP'd while leveling up. It keeps people out of dungeons, right? The hardcore players actually don't spam levels to get to MC first because what they do is they try and get ranks early on, so they actually are PvPing out in the world during leveling. You fix the entire spell cleave meta by having world PvP, like having dungeons not be the meta because you want people to actually PvP. Right, you solve so many issues that we saw in the world. If you,
I would be lying. To say,
real quick. Let's answer this question.
Yeah.
Every single one here. I know most of you guys have played private servers. I can honestly say that so far at this point, I have had more fun PvPing on private servers than I have on Classic. Honestly.
Substantially.
Yeah.
True, but one big but here. The world PvP wasn't well, let me rephrase it. The world PvP was not fun because the servers were way too big. If we had classic vanilla-sized servers, like the real vanilla-sized servers, world PvP would have been a lot better. So it's not because world PvP was implemented in phase 2 and didn't have battlegrounds and it sucked. It's just because there were 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, I don't know how many people in a world that's only made for 3,000
You know
people.
what, dude, Dane? In a lot of ways, the no changes aspect lost in that way because I wanted to
Totally.
see. You know, I think that's why we should have adhered a little bit more stronger to some of the no changes because I wanted to see smaller servers. I wanted to see,
exactly.
There are aspects of no changes that should have been implemented, I think, and that weren't, that would have helped the game much more than
I think that actually is I think that's a very sound point. I think that you're actually very right there. I think the population causes a lot of issues that we have currently seen. So I think that perhaps a more dogmatic approach in that regard would have been useful. The issue was that Blizzard never addressed it. They never even talked about it. They never talked about the server caps. They refused to mention them.
So here's the other thing. I wrote down some points on a little notepad because I'm a goldfish and everything comes in my mind for 1 second, then it leaves. So I don't envy Blizzard's position. It almost feels like us as a group, and maybe just all gaming communities, we're like unpleasable. There's always going to be so many people that want something else, right? It's so hard to please everybody, right? So it's the type of thing that we are still. I mean, I'm still having fun. You have to
but who would nerfing AV piss off?
Okay, I mean, I hear you. I'm not even specifically just talking about AV in general. This is my,
but there are easy acting as if there aren't like there are a lot of hard fixes, right? Like there are a lot of hard fixes to make, right? The population change would piss people off, right? The battleground change would piss people off. All of these are like controversial. Right? The spell batching change for some reason would piss people off. I don't know why. People are dumb. Anyway, right? Like but some changes are just so easy to make that actually are good for the game. Nerfing AV. No one's an enemy of nerfing AV. Everyone wants.
Who's an enemy of nerfing AV? Anybody feel passionate about the other direction? Like there's always two sides of the coin, right? Let's get some. No,
but there isn't. Right here we have a one-sided coin, right?
Is it? There's never a one-sided coin though. Let's get some arguments for why nerfing AV would be bad. And this is one thing I want to spit out really in completion real quick. Okay, classic to me. Now that I've been playing my alt and doing my thing and basically unsubscribing a little bit from the rat race a little bit, not worrying so much about keeping up with the Joneses. I got a full raid set. I'm good to go.
You know what nerfing AV does though to the rat race.
Let me finish this one thing though. Classic to me feels cozier now. A lot of the flavor of the month streamers and people that were playing this game kind of opportunistically and just trying to like rat it out because it's like, you know, they just want to see what it's about and then ride the wave, make a bunch of content for it, whatever it is. A lot of those people are bouncing out. It feels cozier. Some of the old boys that we saw from private servers and stuff are still there. They're hanging in there. Their passion for the game is coming through. And here's the other thing about classic WoW hype and WoW hype in general. I do think it's cyclical. You can only go so hard. You can only go so hard until you kind of burn out. But the cool thing about classic WoW is it draws you back in. Like eventually you get that taste for the game again. So I think a lot of people are hitting that wall and they feel burned out and they need a little bit of a break. But they're gonna feel that itch again. I promise you, they will feel like, yo, I kind of want to just play classic.
Like people come back for BWL and stuff, and like ZG's the best. Like ZG being out, like AQ20 being out, having these 20-man raids and like the faster cycle of raids is so great for the game. Like especially for PvEers, it's really enjoyable to like be able to do content all the time with your friends. Like my drunk ZGs are some of like the most fun that I had on private servers. Like they were a ton of fun. But I think here, like just on the point of AV again, because like I think I need to drive this home. If you nerfed AV, right, it would piss off the honor cartels. Someone pointed that out in chat. And that like it pisses off like the hard min-maxers that don't want a PvP. And so what it does actually when you nerf AV and you force Warsong to be the meta is you choke out anyone who doesn't actually want to play PvP with a group of people and spend an ass fuckload of money. If you can't win every game, you stop ranking. And what that does is it essentially forces everyone to be nuked from the honor system who isn't like a top 10 player on a server, and which is a good thing for the server because it takes everyone out of the min-max. People can't keep up anymore, so they don't try to. And everyone exits the system, and so people play the game as it was meant to be and like meant to be played. They play it more casually. They go level alts, they go farm gear, right? Like they don't play, you know, AV for 17 hours a day. They don't play Warsong for 17 hours a day because they'll just lose.
I want to get everybody's like 2-sentence or 3-sentence like thesis on the current state of the game right now. Like if you just think about it for a second, I'll start with mine, right? Just try and keep, because there's a lot of people in chat, it's confusing, we have a lot of, you know, words being, a lot of passion coming through right now. Just kind of see where the community, so the community knows kind of where we stand right now. For me, I will start with myself. I think we are getting some great data here from the game. Like we're learning how things, what's going right, what's going wrong. But I would like to see Classic play out a little bit longer, like we're just in this no changes capacity, and then make maybe adjustments a little bit later. Like if they do new freshes for new servers, like the next wave of servers, maybe we can make adjustments there. But I would just want the game to try and stay the course a little bit, and we be a little bit patient with it. That would be my point. I know that's an unpopular opinion right now, but I'm starting off just so you guys can think about what you would have to say. Like, if you want to adjust anything with relation to the game right now, balance-wise, whatever's going right, whatever's going wrong. You have anything doing today in Def Camp? Go for it.
I'll go next. Yeah, so I do think we're in a little bit of a limbo state right now, which is normal, right? I think I do agree with North, and I do think having AV being nerfed and that aspect and having Warsong would be much better for the state of the game right now at this point. I think potentially seeing Arathi Basin come out a little bit earlier than it would have would be okay too. I think as long as we we're probably going to get BWL in a couple of maybe a month or so now, a little bit more than a month. I think there needs to be small amounts of changes in the aspect of where we are right now, right? The game is completely different than vanilla, completely different than private servers, and we need to look at what is going on in the game right now, what can be fixed, what can be done better to increase the fun for everyone, not just the min-maxers, not just the casuals. And I think there are ways of doing that. Nerfing AV is one of them. Potentially having AB come out maybe a little bit sooner than it would have. But right now, I think it's just natural that we're in this kind of state of limbo right now.
So let me get this straight. DefChem's position on this, let me make it very clearly here, is you are kind of in the boat right now of making a number of small adjustments and changes at this point in time to make the game better for everybody.
Yes.
That's a big statement, man. You're an esteemed member of the community.
Small adjustments, right? And here's the thing, right? This has already been done in Classic, right? So BGs came out earlier, right? The world PvP meta was only a couple weeks or a month, whatever it was, right? So these things have already happened.
Well, the world PvP being a month, to be clear, is not really a change. It lasted 6 weeks in the original iteration. It lasted 4 weeks here.
So it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
but we did have DM come out a little bit sooner than it did in retail WoW. We did have things adjusted slightly, and I think we can still adjust slightly some things. I think having the nerf to AV is logical to me, right? And honestly, I think with Arathi Basin coming out maybe like right around BWL would be, I think that would be good. Honestly, I do. So if BWL comes out, say late February, right, and we have maybe Arathi Basin coming out 2-3 weeks after that, I'd be okay with that.
I think the biggest thing for me is that
this
Blizzard
is your closing statement. Here we go.
This is my closing statement.
Official stance on this. Here we go.
Blizzard is a crock of shit, okay? Woo! And they can't be trusted to fix the game. So the real solution is that everyone, and I'm going to be doing this as soon as I hit rank 14, and I'm min-maxing, and then I'm going to do it, so I'm a hypocrite, but whatever. As soon as I hit rank 14, I'm going to spend an entire week turtling AV 69. And by doing this, I will force the Horde to stop queuing for AV, because they will get into this game and they'll have to AFK. And so many people will be AFKing out of this game that they will be incapable of queuing, because they will get instant queues into AV69 that will last the entire reset. And I will keep doing this reset after reset until AV is broken or I am broken. Whichever breaks first, I don't care. I will find as many people as possible for this cause, and we will break the meta, because Blizzard cannot be trusted, and it's in our hands now, people.
Okay, so what are the adjustments?
Can I go on this?
Yeah. Real quick. So North wants changes. I just want to close it out for each person. Like, North wants changes. You want AV to be adjusted.
I want
the honor values to be adjusted.
Deleted.
You want
AV to be deleted.
North wants AV to be deleted, or the lieutenant value specifically adjusted, and what, Warsong honor buffed too as well, or no?
No, don't need to buff Warsong honor. You should delete AV.
No, not delete AV.
Or nerf lieutenant honor.
Nerf lieutenant honor. So that would fix it, though. You're saying we start having fun again. We start playing the game, have fun again. If the lieutenant honor gets nerfed, in your mind.
Well, we're still playing the game. We're still having fun. We'd have more fun, though.
We'd have more fun. Okay, thank you, North. That is very. We're doing a day. What is your thesis to the community, right? Your
Yeah. So I'm still as no changes as it possibly gets. That being said, though, I think we can use a few changes. If I say I'm no changes, I mean I'm looking for the most authentic vanilla experience.
Okay.
And for having that, I feel like we need a few changes. because we started from something with changes. So one of the changes I would make is nerf AV's honor. I don't mind how they do it as long as they do it. So Warzone Gulch becomes the best honor grind. That's for PvP. If they ever bring out the game again, like from phase 1 again, I would still like to have the world PvP phase. I just would like to see the servers be a lot smaller, but that's something they can't change anymore now. So I'm having a lot of fun in the game. I'm playing every day. I'm not one of the people who is rate logging at the moment, so I have plenty of things to do. So for me, it's really the PvE side of things is okay. I would even have delayed phase 1 a little bit because I thought it was a little bit too fast. I think BWL can come in February. That's fine. So I wouldn't say change too much, honestly. Just nerf AV and see how we go from there.
So Dunedain is also in the changes camp, but he says that he says that with the best possible intention of trying to preserve the authentic original vanilla experience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you want no changes to the authentic vanilla experience.
True. The problem is it's already too late. But
it's too late. I would say there's never going back to that. Like we don't even necessarily know what that was. We were a different age bracket. They didn't have all the stuff that we have right now. I don't think there's anything that broken wrong with the game right now. That's a big unpopular opinion, I know, but I feel like we're still having fun, and if people can just chill out a little bit and just do Warsong,
we'd be having more fun though, right? Like to the members of the classic community, from the members of the classic community who want changes to preserve the state of the game, to the members who do not want changes because of some dogmatic sense of loyalty to a scuffed ass client in the first place. I would say this and this alone. You're outnumbered.
Oh my god.
I mean, listen, I mean, in all reality, we have to look at the fact that what we have right now, Classic WoW, is not Vanilla WoW, right? There has already been changes. There's already been things that have been implemented in this game that are completely different than what they were in Vanilla, and we have to act accordingly or try to
Agreed.
Make what we can in order to make the game as best as it can be. That's the reality, guys. That is the reality of what we are in right now. This is not Vanilla WoW. This is Classic WoW, and we have to try to do whatever.
With all that said, chat, help us out here. We want to drive the engagement with you. How much fun are you currently having with Classic WoW at this current point in time? All factors considered, whatever that means to you, don't overthink it. 1 to 10, where are you guys at right now? Having fun with the game.
And are you playing AV 17 hours a day?
Yeah, I don't envy you, bro. I don't envy you. So what is your fun level? Like 2 right now? Because you just literally live in AV.
My fun level's at like a solid 7.
I'd say an 8.
7? You're at an 8?
Yeah.
I'm probably still at. Last time I said 10. I'm still at the same level, honestly. I'm just not playing AV, so who cares, really?
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm playing and having fun and raiding with guys, I'm having a 10. You know what I mean? When I'm doing shit that I don't like, it's like whatever, I'm having it. So I'm between an 8 and a 10. It depends. I was gonna make a penis joke. Never mind.
What do we say? What do we say to these people who say the hype has died, the game is dead, TBC when all the what are we thinking here? I mean,
you're fools. Fools. I mean, come on. You're like we're in a we're in a friggin' limbo right now.
The game BWL's not even out. The game hasn't even really started.
We're still doing MC.
Hasn't really started. That's what you.
We're still doing MC. Like, how can you even? We have so much more of this game to come still. Like,
There's a valid point.
You're wrong.
There's a valid point if what you wanted to do is focused on Battlegrounds and focused on Warzone Gulch.
If
that's the case,
not all the Battlegrounds.
That's not really. I don't really think that is like, because here's the reality of it. Farming Warzone Gulch in a ranker pre-made anyway, like ranking in Warzone Gulch, is still boring, right? It's less boring. It's less boring than AV. Ranking is still boring and bullshit and awful. Yeah. Like no matter how many ways that you that you spin that fucking candle, it's gonna end up being like a short ass wick that no one fucking wants to look at, right?
Well, ranking itself,
I'm not sure what that means, but you know what? It's not fun, right?
But
so the people who want to play Warsong are currently playing Warsong, and Carter's point is not wrong.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play Battlegrounds, right, like you can still play Battlegrounds. You can play it in whatever way you want, especially if you're Alliance.
The aspiration of becoming a ranker is something entirely different.
Yeah, but that was never right. Like it was always going to be bullshit because it's just like the system is not supported. Like with an absence of changes. Even if Warsong were the meta though, it would still be bullshit. It would still be largely about who was playing more.
99% of the people who are playing Warsong Gulch or want to play Warsong Gulch, they do that because they have some kind of aspiration of getting that rank 14 or a high rank one day. They're not necessarily rankers, but they want to play it because it's a goal they have somewhere.
I don't think they're trying to get 14, but they're trying to get the mount. A lot of people are trying to ride that raptor.
I think most people who want to play Warsong just want to play Capture the Flag.
That's what I do. When I was playing Warsong, bro, I wasn't even. When I was solo queuing Warsong, I was just trying to have fun. Warsong is just fun, dude. It's timeless.
I think people are just in there. I think having the incentive alongside it, right? Like that's part of what makes MMOs enticing, right? That's part of what brings you into the treadmill, right? If you realistically think that you can have a shot at rank 14, obviously that will make it more fun. I agree, but the people who want it to like to do it, and the people who get like all their kicks out of Battlegrounds, they do them after they hit rank 14. They do it after they get their gear, and then they go like the people who endlessly min-max it. They get their gear, and then they go back to Warsong because it's so much fun. Because they do want to just play the game.
I think playing Warsong Gulch because it's fun. I play like 1 or 2 because it's fun. I get a certain amount of honor, but I think it's basically the same as saying you can rate Molten Core in retail with 5 men and have fun, or you can go.
But isn't the game? Aren't you supposed to do a couple war songs with your buds? You know, like after work. Isn't that the whole point of like?
That's the same as raiding. And before you go into the raid, we'd say you will never get any piece of loot, but it's fun because you can play with your friends. That's the same as playing Warsong Gulch just for fun.
But if that would be the case. That would be the case if you could get nothing from Warsong, but you can still rank up in Warsong. But you can't get to rank 14. You can never get the best.
Let's keep it spicy. I want to move on to something a little more interesting people can relate to. Okay. There's one thing. So, how do you think Blizzard is dealing with Classic? How do you think they feel about Classic? Do you think they feel optimistic about it? Do you think they feel optimistic about TBC? Do you think that this is potentially not going well for them? Have they been communicating too little? Have they been communicating out? Yeah. I haven't personally heard from Blizzard too much, but because I've been leveling my pally, doing my thing. But do you think that they're kind of like putting this on autopilot right now? How are you guys feeling about just the current?
When they released paid transfers, they sold it out. They literally they cashed out when they released paid transfers. They don't care anymore.
I got a little bit of a whiff of that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, when
they don't give a shit.
I don't really know why I mean, they should care because many people are interested in the game, and they might just gain a lot of subs if they fix the AV shit.
Yep.
So I think
they should care. I agree. It's really dumb that they don't. And I think that they're bad and dumb. But when they release paid transfers, they check the fuck out. That was them throwing their hands up in the air and saying, "Fuck it, balance the game yourself."
Yeah.
We'll see. I can't really take a stance here because I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's still a little early to tell.
There are people that care about Classic WoW big time. We were at BlizzCon, right? We met with Omar. We hung out with him for a couple days. Very nice. There's some very nice people. He's very passionate about the project. But at the same time,
not passionate enough.
At the same time, man, I do wish they were like a little more communicative about stuff, man. I don't know, like just talking things out, making it feel like it's a real legitimate WoW community, like a little bit more like.
And like basically, having the talk with us and trying to figure out stuff before just going into one thing. Like I think there are a lot of the whole AV thing. I feel like there could have been a lot more conversation with that, and the server and all that. And I do think there's a certain point to where they kind of make their choice, and that's it, and there's nothing really we can do about it. And I'm kind of upset about that. I wish we did have a little bit more say.
Do you think more people are playing Classic than BFA? Spicy take right here.
I still think so.
I don't think that's a spicy take. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Think so? Is that for sure? I mean, have you noticed a little bit of some nudging to go towards Shadowlands though, like on the launcher, on like the ads you're seeing popping up everywhere?
Of course.
Many people
they want their products to do well, like of course.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when Shadowlands launches, it will spike above Classic again, and then we'll see if it's good, it may stay above. If it's not, then Classic will
What are the chances that Shadowlands comes out and it's really good and people love it? I'm gonna go ahead and say like 1%. I don't know.
The chances that it's really good is 0%. The chances that it's somewhat decent, that's well, that's
What are the
I think
chances
it's like a
people fall
20%
madly in
chance that
love
it's like
with
palatable.
it's never going to be what we want from an MMO.
I don't think I can ever get into another Blizzard expansion, honestly.
Yeah, this will be the first one I'm not buying, man. I got all these posters up on the wall. You're not gonna see a Shadowlands one up there.
I want to say
One
something
expansion I'm
about
looking forward to is TBC.
TBC. What DevCamp said though was interesting. He said that we should have a little more to say into the development of the game. And while I agree now, I think part of our input also made the game into what BFA is right now. So there was a time when I would have said Blizzard knows better and what they do is right, but that's not today anymore. But
they need better developers. Like, I think that's just it. Like, you can't
exactly.
you got like the input from the community like should be important to you, but you should have people with enough vision and enough, you know, creative moxie to know when a change is bad and to know when a change is good and to have that foresight. And that's not an easy thing. Like, it's really hard to design good games like with an eye towards longevity, especially as a game advances through expansions. That's an incredibly difficult task.
What you need for that is a passionate,
relevant.
What would you guys guess?
You need a genius. You need a creative fucking genius to do that because it's never really been done.
Can you say that again, Cargos?
Okay, so I've asked my chat multiple times throughout the weeks and months, and you guys haven't really been there, so I'm curious what you guys think about that. I asked them, I go, if you could take all things considered, the hype has come and passed. Like, you have to play one version of the game forever. And there is no past, present, or future. You're just playing one version of the game. You have to factor in the pacing, the class balance, the raids, the amount of content in there. Which game would you play, right? And I always throw it out there, classic versus TBC. Take a guess. Take a guess at what the result of that was.
TBC's higher.
Is it versus TBC or any
but
expansion?
If you had to just play one version of the game forever, all things considered, whatever that means to you, the hype is come and gone. Like, if I say TBC right now, everybody's gonna be hyped for TBC because we've been playing classic.
So
right?
wait, but you did that straw poll?
I have been doing that. I've been asking my chat like that for on and off for weeks, and people.
I think.
Okay.
Go on.
I mean,
I think it's obviously I think it's obviously going to be TBC because people have been playing classic now for a few months. But
even before then, I'd say those polls were very heavily TBC or RAF positioned because people are PvE casuals who can't handle an open world existing.
What would you guess the percentage
don't want
was?
to farm regions.
What would you guess the split would be between TBC and
the rates
classic?
are amazing in TBC. Though.
2 to 1.
Maybe 60-40.
It's an overwhelming, decisive route for TBC over Classic. I can't believe it. It literally blows my freaking mind. It's like 90-10 or something. Somehow everyone always wants
People
to play
are casual.
TBC.
People are casual.
They
It
want
was
to
90-10
It's
before
not
Classic
necessarily
launched.
that. It's also private
It is.
servers were Classic. It was always vanilla. If you wanted to play TBC, it was really much harder to find a decent.
I mean, there were
private
good TBC
There were some
servers.
really
There were a lot of
good
good
TBC
TBC
They
servers.
were good servers, but they were not as popular. So
They weren't as
no-
popular because the game is actually worse. It isn't as replayable.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
dude.
they were not as popular.
It's straight up.
because
It's
harder.
straight up not. But
Yeah,
that's
I
the
mean,
thing. It's straight up not because
I-
vanilla
you could
WoW is
argue- you
designed
could really
around
argue
the
that
drama.
with
It's
Arena
designed around the
and,
sociability.
You could argue with Arena though.
Look
You
at this
replayed
straw
Arena
poll
with
results.
Arena.
Arena is not a long form. Arena is not a long form reason to come back playing the game over and over again. It's not. It's a good reason to like each season to like play a lot initially at the start of it and then preserve your rank. And it's a good competitive outlet. But MMOs are not good for their competitive outlets. MMOs are good for their sociability and their ability to implement RPG
It kind of breaks
mechanics
my
in
heart, man,
large
that
multiplayer
TBC
games.
is so overwhelmingly decisive. Right now, I'm looking at the straw
It's
poll.
because people don't know.
75-25, man. Here's the thing about
People
Classic.
don't know what a good game is, right? These are the same people. These are the same people who cried for no changes before the game that ruined it. These are the same people that cried for flying mounts being amazing. These are the same people who wanted
That's
Dungeon
us, though.
Finder
That's
when
the human
Dungeon Finder
condition,
came
though.
out.
We're hard to please.
There are some things of the Burning Crusade that were clearly.
There are
way
obvious
better.
improvements.
I mean,
there are obvious
well,
improvements, and that's what makes it hard. I'm not saying it's easy. There are obvious improvements. The PvE is much better, right? The game's much more competitive, but it's worse.
It's the first taste of space and all that, man. All I would say is I'd encourage people who love TBC so much to think about it, though. Like, what does Warcraft mean to you in your mind? To me, it's orcs and humans meeting out in Westfall, Elwyn, Onyxia, little kobolds with candles, murlocs running around a little tiny pond of water. These are the things, the power level that I like. TBC, we're starting to get up there with demons and
I think the RP
aliens
of the game,
and all that type of stuff, man. And I love the classes in Classic, man. I think they work really well in vanilla. So, I mean, it's not going to change anything. Everyone wants TBC super bad, I guess.
TBC was a sellout. TBC was they added so many abilities to the game because they wanted to put it on the box.
I would say Wrath was a sellout, honestly.
They did not think that the game would last that long. So what they did was they added a bunch of new abilities to the game. So when they released the expansion box, they could say, look how many new abilities we added. We added 120 new abilities. Look at that. Look how many new monsters we added. We added 120 new monsters. Look how many dungeons we added. We added 120 new dungeons. When those dungeons and those raids were made for vanilla and fucking siphoned off by Blizzard to try and make a quick fucking buck to tank their MMO and fucking move on to the next thing. And they didn't expect it to succeed. It was a fucking sellout. And it did well because it was well-designed PvE because it was the vanilla designers who made that fucking shit. All of it was vanilla.
Are you vanilla over TBC? What is your current? What was the game that you would play if you had to pick one to play forever?
I wouldn't play any of it. I'd play a new MMO because playing an old game over and over and over and over and over.
Damn, dude, what has AV done to you, bro? What has Alterac Valley done to you, North?
I believe this sincerely.
North is like the idea. Doomer mode right now, dude.
What is the most fun about like any private server? If you've played private servers, you know that the most fun part of any private server is the fresh. And right, it's the discovery of it. It's the world that's mysterious. And right, like when you're doing, for instance, what I think is one of the best quest chains in the game, the Scepter of the Shifting Sands quest chain. Imagine being the first person to do the Scepter of the Shifting Sands. Imagine being the first person to do the Onyxia chain. Right? Imagine having to discover that. Imagine not knowing where it was. Imagine not having it in a database and having to go off word of mouth in a world that's dangerous and explorative.
I get it. No, we all a lot of us want that, man, but it just doesn't exist, dude. Nothing is captivated.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But if you had to choose one version of the game though, and you had to play forever,
it would be vanilla.
It would be vanilla, not TBC.
It would always be vanilla. And the reason
I'm a vanilla boy too.
The reason why, the reason why. And I think this is the reason that people always like misinterpret this for me, and they get really angry because I just pass off everything that I think is fact. Obviously, these are just my opinions, right? Like you're not actually dumb and wrong if you don't agree with me, but people are getting salty about that. People always get salty, but it's the social aspect, really, because Arena is a better version. Arena is a better small PvP outlet for competition. Agreed. The battlegrounds and the way that the honor system is done is better for casual acquisition of honor, and it's a better form of gear progression in TBC. The arena gear progression, better progression system in that tier. The gear, better done specs, generally better balanced in PvE-ish. I still think that like the class balance is pretty piss poor because you end up actually having like this overstacking because the content's actually harder. The content for PvE is much better, head and shoulders above vanilla PvE content, and that's what people like. And I'm fine with that, and I understand that, but like call a spade a spade. The thing that you like about TBC is that you can flex on people what your arena rating is, and the dungeons and the raids are good, and that's it, right? But that dungeons and raids, instanced content, instanced PvP in the form of arena, and instanced PvE in the form of raids and dungeons do not make a game. And that is the reason why I will always stick to vanilla.
I like how you stick to your guns, man. I mean, here's the thing. People that are going crazy in the chat, this is the thing. In 2020, it is so easy to not have an opinion. It is so easy to just be super PC and then just go with the flow, right? I'm guilty of it. You know, you expose yourself to risk when you go out there and have an opinion, man. North is so passionate right now because he loves the game. Clearly, you love the game, right? You're just kind of trolling a little bit. You do love the game. I mean, I know you do. People
get angry when I get fucking riled up.
But
so
if you didn't love the game, you didn't care about the game, you just wouldn't give a fuck.
No,
you would just go play BFA. You know, you could just go.
I do.
Play
I sincerely
do that.
Or you could go.
I sincerely believe that it's not like it shouldn't be people like you and me, right? Like people in the community at large, people who don't have a mind to this. Maybe not people like you and me. Maybe I think that I actually should be, and I do believe this. I think that you need to be incredibly thoughtful, and I think that it's an incredibly difficult task to actually balance and design an MMO that like will like stand the test of time, because it's never happened, right? It's never actually, you don't have an MMO that has remained unscuffed for a long period of time, and the closest that it comes to is WoW, and like you see what BFA has become. Right, so that's the closest we have to like a long-standing MMO.
Last thing I want to say, because Dunedin has to go really soon. I'd love to keep talking about this literally all day. We have so many people in here. We have over everything. We have over 800 people in here across everything. Twitch, YouTube. It's amazing. Thank you for spending your time with us, guys. Last thing I want to talk about before Dunedin has to go is faction imbalance. That is another major thing that has caused many problems throughout the game. Do you have any quick thoughts on faction imbalance? Is there anything Blizzard can do at this state in time to fix
Quick
it?
thoughts.
How bad is it though? How bad is the
Quick
faction imbalance
thoughts.
to? What, is it 70-30? Is it 80-20? Is it 60-40?
Should get as much thoughts as you can in first?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I've always been playing on a perfectly balanced server, so I don't have very big opinions on that. I think I'm lucky on that, but I also try to look for such a balanced server. I know we had Flamelash in EU. I don't know if you heard about Flamelash, but Flamelash basically it was a very big server, and it was decently balanced, I think, in the beginning. But then when server transfers opened, Alliance just vanished from the server, and now they have like no alliance, like literally zero. So that server is basically dead. They transferred to all kind of realms. So I think that's kind of an issue. Can you solve it? I don't really see how, honestly. It's always gonna be an issue if you have two factions, and it will only get worse if you go to TBC, probably because of Blood Elves. What didn't help was how they managed the server sizes. Again, if they started out with smaller servers, they didn't have to do the free transfers, and those kind of things couldn't have happened. And then on top of that, they came with the paid transfers, so everyone who didn't transfer yet transferred by paying for it. So made it even worse. Exactly. So I'm happy I'm not on Flamelash. And other than that.
But how come faction balance wasn't that bad on private servers and stuff like that? It never seemed to be this bad of an issue, man. Now it seems like it's getting like snowballing out of, it's getting to a whole new level.
It was.
Like, I don't know.
The answer is that
there was
it
heavy
was.
alliance on what was it, Lightbringer? Or,
Northdale. Northdale and Lightbringer were both very alliance heavy because people like actually
alliance heavy, right? That's the opposite though. So now we have horde heavy, alliance heavy. So I played a couple private servers as well, North, and it's always actually every single one I played, it's always been more alliance than horde. And I'm actually used to being like.
I mean, on Nost it was more horde heavy. As people understood the game more, they started playing alliance more and more because alliance is a little easier, to be honest, and it's better. Like if you're actually really good at the game, so people started metagaming more and more. But that being said, a lot of the reason why it was like TBC becomes even worse because Horde is just straight up, unequivocally like 10 times better than Alliance. It's really bad.
It's ridiculous.
What in TBC, right?
It's really, it's it's not even Blood Elves. It's mostly like the Orc racial, and then if you remove the Fear Ward, because you give everyone got Fear Ward, so dwarves no longer. It wasn't dwarves and Draenei with Fear Ward. It was like everyone. So you remove like Fear Ward from Alliance. So you really, because like that was like the biggest sell of racials on Alliance, and then you fuck them with that. So then you have like Wotif, which is really strong in like Arena and Battlegrounds, especially like with like the way that CC was like I don't like just the way that like burst windows were changed, it became a lot better. And because it was just like you didn't need, it wasn't like a 5 global game anymore. Classic, like a lot of times the fights decided in like 4 or 5 globals, whereas later on it's not. So like a big fear will actually like matter more because it's not right, the game's not decided in the same way, right? So and escape artist is a lot less important because it's not like big world PvP engagements where you actually have the room to kite, right? So you like inadvertently nerf like gnomes like heavily and like dwarves by the removal of Fear Ward, and then you like really buff. You give like the racial for orcs that actually works for spell power, makes them really strong, right? And then you give Horde Fear Ward as well, and those racials were already very strong, keeping hardiness on orcs, right? Nerfing it slightly, you know.
What do you think about faction balance on DevCamp? You think there's a way to fix it, or do you think do we just stay the course? And maybe when the new servers come around, people are going to be more balanced. Do the streamers go all play Alliance? Hey, look, I'm doing my part for the community. You already know I've been playing Alliance. Right?
Honestly, like I made an Alliance character. I love playing both factions. As much as I love Horde, I fucking love the quests in Dunmurrow, and I love playing a dwarf. I do love a lot of the stuff in Alliance. I love playing Horde, but I do think that we're kind of screwed to a certain point here in Classic with how heavy Horde is. I think it's going to be this way for the long run. I think the damage is already done to an extent, and I think that there's the fact that the faction the paid transfers just kind of fucked it even more. So I think we're kind of already.
There's no faction pay transfer though, is there? Am I trolling?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Transfer servers.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
Heart
Transfer.
Attack. I'm sorry.
Sorry for a second.
Would that fix it though? Would faction transfer fix it? Don't answer that. Maybe answer that.
No.
Right? Yes. What on a really bad server? Would you do a limited faction transfer?
Oh god, I don't even want to think about that.
Maybe we just do fresh servers,
we've
man.
thought about that. Like I've on like the
re-roll,
state of
man.
Stalag, we've discussed that at length. I think that's the only legitimate solution, which it's a shitty solution. It's like it's the nuclear option, and it's not actually a real solution. But it's the only
turn shamans into paladins and paladins into shamans.
Yeah, I mean you turn shamans into paladins. No, but you only allow Horde to Alliance because of the massive imbalance. You only allow Horde to Alliance. You allow you allow server transfers off of the servers with like very, very heavy faction imbalances, as well as faction transfers on those servers. You only allow it in servers that have an imbalance, and you only offer it from Horde to Alliance. So you'd have to, like, if you had a shaman, you'd give up all your gear and you'd have a green geared paladin if you transferred, which would be completely shitty. If you did it, it would be awful. Right, and then everyone else could just be transferred 1-to-1. Maybe you just do transfer and you just have all that green gear. Maybe you just like everyone has green gear as the solution, which again, really shitty solution. But at this point, if you wanted to actually solve it, that's really the only way, because all the damage is done. There are just too many Horde, right? And like they didn't have an eye towards balancing servers early. They didn't like limit faction transfers on server for free transfers based on faction, and then they implemented paid transfers too early. So there's no real way around it now. It's just kind of
I agree. I just
just re-roll, guys. Re-roll. If you re-roll,
re-rolling is actually like it's the answer.
Best thing.
Is the community.
It's fun. It's fresh. You're gonna feel more excited to play the game again.
Because you experience the best part of vanilla, which is fucking leveling and playing with new people. And like, to me, like I will say, like, I love TBC with the rating, and I like but to me, like, the thing that I love so much about vanilla WoW is the fucking experience that you get leveling 1 to 60, meeting new people, doing the quests. Like that's why it's always been neck and neck for me to pick. Like I can never pick one, because the magic of vanilla WoW for me is the replayability and making new characters and doing that over and over and over again. And
that's the magic, baby. That's the best part of the game.
After I finish ranking to 14, I'm legitimately leveling. I'm gonna try my hand at multi-boxing. I'm leveling 2 mages, just 1 to 60 as God intended out in the world. Obviously, it's a little less as God intended because I'm leveling 2 mages.
That's not the way, North. You gotta.
It's not the way God intended. All right, but
North, you gotta go loot ambercorns.
Let him do it his way, man.
You gotta go loot ambercorns.
Yeah. I want 2 little mages to go around and fucking lighting people on fire. Like that'll be fun for me. I'll have 3 different colored beards in my little cacophony of gnomes. It'll be beautiful.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm have North red and North green and North blue, right? So it's gonna be sick. All right, but yeah, no, I do think that's true. I do think that's true, and I think like all of the conversations that we have
Alliance,
sort of
guys.
You're
gonna go. I gotta do a shout out real quick because we have to wrap up. Doing the has to balance, and it's been. I really appreciate everyone hanging out here. It's a spicy topic.
Thanks for coming, North.
So we had Spicy Boy in here. North Spicy Boy. It's a spicy topic. We gotta get spicy in here. We gotta roll the sleeves up and get in there, man. A lot of pent up feelings here, man.
I trigger all the casuals. The casuals don't like me.
Alterac Valley. After how much do you play Alterac Valley per day, man?
I play 17 hours a day.
This guy,
my brain is mush.
He's pretty put together for a man who spends 17 hours a day in the valley. Come on.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Like,
well, I wake up at noon. I wake up at noon. I queue for AV. I go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god!
I brush my teeth. I take showers in between the queues. I take 2-minute showers. I'll run I don't want to get the AFK timer, so I'll run like in the morning. Like first game of AV, I'd brush my teeth. Second game of AV, I run in the shower. I because I've actually showered for 5 days in a row. Longest that any ranker has showered in a row. 5 days in a row. I'm on a streak.
I mean,
so
I think for whatever
it's worth, real WoW fucking player.
I think you're put together, man, for spending 17 hours in the valley. We appreciate you, man, guys.
No, but I definitely have got more edgy since I've been in AV. I really like on stream. I'm constantly having a meltdown. I've started talking in a wizard voice because that's all that.
Your boy needs to get laid. Yo, no, the North is getting mad mean girls, man. I'm telling you, dude. North's got quite a few.
Kind of impressed.
But you know what? I'm gonna be in the first wave of rank 14s, and you can never take that away.
And you're gonna take that cloud staff though. I gotta shout out a guild.
I'm gonna get the cloud staff, and I'm gonna AFK and Ironforge with the cloud staff.
So we had there's if you guys want to play Alliance, reroll. You want to reroll on Bloodsail Buccaneers. I'm on Alliance Bloodsail Buccaneers, so I gotta shill it real quick, guys. There's a new guild there for Twinks. So if you want to make Twinks, Twink is like a low level character, like level 19. There is a guild called Lost Boys. They're actively recruiting. If you want something fresh, you want to go try something new, hit me up on Bloodsail Buccaneers. and I will direct you to them. But they're called Lost Boys. They have like 200 members, all twinks. If you want to have fun, switch it up, right? It's on Bloodsail Buccaneers Alliance. I had to shout them out. It's my buddy Tigwatch. He's starting a new guild over there. I promised I would shout him out. So if you're looking for a twink guild, there you go. Guys, closing thoughts. Everybody take a deep breath. We've been through a lot. The tensions were high. The frustrations were high. As soon as you get super
time, I just still can't believe 17 hours of AV a day. I don't know how you do it, man.
Yeah, see, the thing is people were like, oh, like how much Mountain Dew is this guy drinking? Here's the secret. Here's the secret. You just liquefy your Adderall, and that way you can drink it like a smoothie, right? That way, right? You've got the hydration coming in, but then you also got that little kick.
Oh my god.
But so I'm just going to give a few shout outs. First to my guild, the Fellowship. Thanks for hanging around. It's always fun to raid, and we still invite new people, socials most of the time. But if you're interested in raiding, just feel free to make an application. I linked the Discord in the YouTube chat. And also, if you want to play Alliance on EU, come and hang around on Bloodfang. Also, Deathcamp and Melderon are on that server for Super Brothers.
I have a question for all of you, like
nice.
A brief question, like a two word answer question.
Okay.
Are you guys gonna play New World, Amazon's MMO?
I might try it. I'll try it out. I'll try it out. But I'm not optimistic. I don't think it's the WoW killer.
I'm not optimistic either, but you know, right? Like I'm casually interested in it, so I'm curious because it is a new MMO, and I'm on this MMO. So Cargos, if you're ever around, you need a guild for you want to join Unhinged for New World. You know, you hit me up.
I'll hit you up, bro. I'll give it a shot.
Unhinged is actively recruiting.
Okay, I just want to say, everybody, though, take a deep breath and try and take a few steps back and think if you're actually having fun with the game. I think most of us are still having fun with the game, and if you're not having fun with the game, you will feel that itch again. It's gonna scratch you again. The game doesn't let go, dude. Once the game sinks its claws into you, it's very hard to get fully away from it, right? Yeah. So maybe you're feeling a little bit burned out right now. You will probably feel that itch again that you want to scratch. Come watch Super Play Brothers on Deathcamp on TV. That'll get you hooked into it. These years that we're playing in right now, these years right here, we're going to look back on these years very fondly. We will look back and be very nostalgic that we used to do GMA with Deathcamp, doing a day in Big North on here, and we're kind of living the glory days as we speak. And I know it's hard to recognize that, but I promise you, we will look back on these years very fondly, and we should be appreciative that Classic WoW is relevant and it's in pop culture. It's in the mainstream. Right?
It's here. We're playing.
We'll probably want to play Classic WoW down the line when it's no longer in the mainstream and it's gone and it's RIP. So enjoy it.
You think it'll be better then?
I don't know, man. I just be appreciative of what we got right now, man. We got a community, we got a game. It's the game we always wanted. So
agreed. We have drama. We have passion. You know, I think that's definitely an understatement. Obviously, like I give a lot of people a lot of shit, but you know, the game is a ton of fun, right? It's obviously I wouldn't be playing it. I wouldn't be playing 17 hours a day at the end of the day if I weren't having fun, because I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right, even in AV, even my brain melting through my fucking nose, you know, even sitting there losing brain cells by the minute, it feels good, man, because it's classic.
You're getting paid to play the best
and
game.
And you will be ranked 14 very soon, man.
True.
Very fucking.
Yeah. Deathcamp, any closing thoughts, man? Anything you want to do?
All I just want to say is, you know, love you guys, fucking crazy, and come check us out. We got Super Play Brothers coming out this weekend, another episode, and fucking keeping it real over on Scarum. You know what I mean?
Deathcamp, one of the most lovable people.
Scarum's dead. Abandoned ship. Sink the Titanic. People should not cling to.
We're not Stalag, bro. What do you think? What was that?
Stalag died.
Let's do GMA each week. I wanted to say.
Rain is gonna die. It's gonna fall away. It's gonna sink into the sea.
Can we get some hearts in the chat, guys? Let's get some hearts. Let's feel a little good. Let's do a big group hug, man. Let's get some hugs in the chat. Get some hearts, man. We're a little amped up. North, you want to say say any parting words to the people as well? I know you want to do some shout outs, anything like that. We appreciate you being here, man.
I know Chad has some mixed feelings on me, but I mean everything that I say, every thought that I have, every concern that I express is out of love for this game that I think everyone here shares. And I think that's important to remember. You know, half the time I'm just memeing up my abrasiveness, but it's important to remember why we're all here and why we all play the game and why we're in a community in the first place, and why an insel like me is in shared company with regular, you know, good, honest, working people. And that's because this is such a good fucking game, and it is because we enjoy it, and because it is a well well, it's a masterpiece, right? It's one of the best MMOs, if not the best MMO ever made.
Best game of all time. It's in its own tax bracket, as I always say. So relish it, guys.
I think that's important to remember while you're hating on me. Remember, we're the same.
It's all too easy to not have an opinion, to be a hollow husk of a human being and just agree with everybody says be a yes.
Every time I label you, it's out of love. It is because I want you all to be better. I want you all.
Got some cojones.
I
Big
want
hamster
you all to
wheel.
improve.
Another legend, man. Hamster wheel. Big shout out to you, brother. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with this week. Dunedin's got to run. Thank you very much for your time and hanging out with us. I'm gonna host my man High Warlord Stino. Say hi to him for us. Thank you for the 100 biddies, lazy ass mastermind. I appreciate you. That's it, guys. We're gonna end it. I'm gonna press the button.
Thank you for having me on, Cargos.
Of course, man. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Have a great day. Hell yeah. Peace out.
Bye bye.